Now typically when we do this, we have a much bigger show ring, in which case this whole process is a whole lot bigger, but we're working with the space we have, so they're a little bit crammed. However, typically, normally they're walking in on an angle straight towards the judge, and then they're walking in a large circle around the entire show ring, which is something we really stress to them because we want them to use their entire space. And then what we do is we have them line up, and when they line up, they're supposed to be doing something called setting your animal. Now this is when we take the alpaca and they should be completely squared. They should have both front legs squared with both back legs. So when you're looking at them directly, you should only see 2 legs. Now this is something that they get judged on and how well they can do it, because every time that alpaca stops, they should be setting their animal. It's part of the showing, it's part of the performance of showmanship. Now, when they're sitting here walking around like this, the judge is looking for a couple things. The judge wants to look and see if their spacing's appropriate, because you want to have at least an alpaca length apart, because you don't know what that alpaca is going to do. You want to give space, and you want to have room in case anything happens or an alpaca could get a little jumpy. Also, they should be smiling because they're supposed to be having fun, and I only see one smile from like a intestine in the middle. Good job. Where's everybody else's smile? There's Elena's. Good job. But they're supposed to be looking at the judge at all times unless they're looking at their animal. So, what she's doing right now is she's walking around the alpacas, because what you do is you have quadrants on which side the person is supposed to be with their alpaca. Now, this is part of the showing and the performance and how well their animal will stand there as they move around them to get a good look. And as you see, they're doing a thing called switching. Now, after this process, what happens is the judge will look at them, make sure they know their quadrants, make sure they're switching, they should be smiling, they should be having fun, they should have nice loose leads to show that they've worked with their alpacas, because these alpacas don't just stand here like this. They spend hours and days working with their alpacas. They go out there and they walk them around, they spend time with them, they teach them how to do these obstacles. So the process now is our judge is going to have each contestant walk up to him. Now typically in the show, what's going to happen is the judge will give them a list of standards that they have to do. And when they walk up, they should be showing the teeth like she's doing now. Sometimes they'll touch the animal, sometimes they'll back the animals up, and Tiffany will do something different with each one. But typically it's the same thing in the show, and this varies for the age group, because you're going to do something a little bit more advanced, like pick up a foot when you're doing your seniors, but someone like your juniors, maybe all you're going to do is back up or show the teeth. Even though it's not showmanship, you should still be smiling. Now, y'all, this ain't my first rodeo. They want to watch them, not hear me talk the whole time. You're fine. You keep going. Now, they think I haven't done this before, but so what happened here with the steps is that he gets to have 3 tries, which means they get to make 3 attempts on an obstacle, and if they don't finish the obstacle in 3 tries, they have to move on. And what will happen is sometimes a judge may give them 1 or 2 points for their effort, and otherwise a judge will do none if they didn't complete it at all, if they completely refused. Now, I was told that this alpaca here is fairly new on a halter. So as you can see, he's a little bit stubborn on doing a couple of the jumps or, walking on the steps. And that's okay because it takes time. job. I didn't want to be talking right there while he was doing that. And that's another thing, is in the show, sometimes we've had tractors and trucks going by and other fairs and stuff like that, and it can get really loud, and some of these alpacas do really great and they just keep on trucking through. But being newer on the halter, one, it's going to be a lot different for him because, you know, he hasn't had the opportunity to try all of these obstacles before. So he's not as familiar with some of these things. So some of it's still kind of new to him. And personally, he's doing really great so far anyway. But it does happen with alpacas. And sometimes, well, that was really good. That's a challenging one. So he did really well. Now he is finished with this, so if we can give him a round of applause. He did really, really well. Now this course will change. Things will change as you go up in the age groups. You have juniors, intermediates, and seniors. And seniors will be doing things that are a little bit more challenging than your juniors will be. You know, other obstacles consist of having to put something on the alpaca's back and walking it. And, you know, that may seem easy, but alpacas really aren't used to that kind of thing. You know, they're not pack animals. They don't have that as a main use, so that's new to them. Especially if there's something dangly on their back legs, they usually don't like that. Now, things that she's looking for here to, you know, to get a 10 out of 10 is when you're doing change of pace like she just did, you should be making a complete stop, smiling, looking at the judge, run to the next cone, make a complete stop, look at the judge, smile. Sometimes they'll see you, sometimes they won't because they're writing notes. With the agility, like I said before, they have to do the right pattern and follow that exactly, and also have the alpaca try not to touch anything. Usually, if they touch the jump like that, or if they touch the, when they're walking around in a circle or anything, if they usually touch that or tip that, they'll typically get a few points taken off. Now, he's one that hasn't been on the teeter-totter very much, so it's a little iffy as to whether he will or not, and sometimes, like I said, this happens. They're just not comfortable with it that day, or it just is a little nervous. There's something they don't like to do. And when you do that, they refuse the obstacle and you move on. But she made an effort and she still tried. Good job, Elena. Can we get a round of applause for her, please? So with alpacas, we have 22 natural colors with alpacas. Now, does anyone know what the difference is between an alpaca and a llama? Anybody? Alpacas are smaller than llamas are. They're also used for their fiber, whereas llamas are used for pack animals. Alpaca's fiber is considered a luxury fiber, and it's one of the softest in the world. It's also warmer and stronger than wool, and a lot of people who are allergic to sheep's wool, they can actually wear alpaca because it doesn't have the lanolin in it that most people are allergic to. Their main uses is for show, breed, their fiber, and then they're also used for therapy. Now here he's doing the agility, and he looks like he's doing pretty good, and he remembered the pattern, and that the patterns do get harder as you go up with the age groups. The patterns do get a lot harder. Usually there's more cones. Now something with this black tube over here, multiple different things this can be used for. So he could have to go in there and just put 2 feet of the alpacas or all 4 feet, which if you notice, the inner tube's kind of small, so getting 4 feet isn't exactly easy. Sometimes they'll have to show their teeth, pick up a foot, good job. And he's not going to want to do the teeter-totter today, but that's okay. Now with backing up, with a lot of these obstacles, we try to teach them based off of voice command, because having voice command over your animal shows more control, and it shows a better relationship between you and your alpaca. By having them, stand there and be able to say back, back, and have them respond to that says a lot more about how much your alpaca responds and listens to you. So when we're doing this, we try to teach them voice commands by saying jump. Good job. Can we get a round of applause for what you guys did? But good job. Now this is Michelle, and she's a little bit older, so her obstacles would be a little bit more challenging. So we're gonna increase the jump for her. We're gonna change the pattern on the cones for her. Sometimes if she's doing change of pace, there'd be like flowers or something like sticking out, so it's a little more distracting for the alpaca. Another obstacle is like having a shirt or something to put on the back, and then she has to walk or run them. Maybe having a tent with some streamers hanging off, or the fan with streamers. So like I said, it would get more challenging. So we're gonna have her show you some obstacles just to have you show another level. We don't have all the obstacles here, so we're gonna do the best we can. There's our, she's out there. Okay.
Now here, normally with seniors, what you do is they have to step down, not jump over. A lot of them will want to jump over, so seniors, they get more points. They actually take each individual step versus missing a step or trying to jump over, jump off. Wait.
So like I said, it gets harder because there's more cones. Makes it a little more challenging. Now for those of you who weren't here a little earlier, what happens is the judge has to walk the contestants through the obstacle course so that way they know what to do. And so that way if they have any questions of anything particular, and because we changed the course a little bit, she's now going through that and showing her the pattern. Now what happens is if Michelle doesn't do this pattern properly, she'll get points taken off, and she won't get her full score if she doesn't follow that properly. So like I said, as you can see, it's a little bit harder. Now she's probably gonna hurry up and do it real quick before she forgets. Now, when you're doing the walkthrough with the judge, you are allowed to go through it a couple times, especially if it's really hard. You can tell the judge, be like, hold up, wait a second, and then you can take a second to walk through it, so that way you remember it and you get it right, because you don't want to watch the contestant before you, because they can also get it wrong, and then you're going to get it wrong. So you want to make sure you have a full understanding for yourself.
I go through the middle?
Nope. That one.
Here?
Maybe it's a little too challenging for Michelle. Oh no, Michelle, you have to do something else first. You can't just do that.
Back up. Yes.
be too easy if we just let her go to the cones. She has to remember it. Because usually they don't put the cones first. The cones are usually in the middle. They do that on purpose.
And they still have to remember all that.
So this alpaca, I know some of you guys weren't here, but he's only been on the halter for a year. So not only have they trained him within the year, but he also hasn't been working on obstacles for very long because you do have to have them halter broke before you can take them on these obstacles. So he is fairly new to all of this still, especially, and he hasn't been off the farm for very much, has he? Only. So this is his first time off the farm at an actual show, which is so that's very different. And if you notice, I stopped talking when they do the teeter-totter because they like having it be more quiet, more understanding. You know, when there's gators going by, it can make them nervous and affect the way that they are showing. So it's just respectful to not be sitting there, you know, talking. So like I said, he's only been on the halter a little bit, so he is new to all of this. So she did it right.
Yes.
So she would get a 10 out of 10.
And she didn't touch the cone.
She didn't touch the cone, so it's 10 out of 10. Now, is she doing side step?
Yes.
All right, so this is side step, which means that she has to have 2 legs on the inside and 2 legs on the outside, and it doesn't matter which is which. However, it is typically easier to have the front legs in and the back legs out. And what she's gonna do is she's gonna get him to walk all the way around the circle, stepping to the side. And that's new because alpacas, you mean, you guys walk forward, you don't typically walk to the side. Well, same with alpacas. Now, because his owners are younger, they typically don't have to do this. Yet, they will have to, but not yet. And therefore, he probably hasn't had a whole lot of practice with that. Woo! Wait, there's the towel. This is also a challenging one where the alpaca, what you have to do is you put the towel on their back and you walk them. Now this is a foreign object. He's not used to this. He doesn't know what this thing is dangling down. So sometimes they might try to kick and jump and move to get it off. Sometimes they're really calm and really don't care. Part of having fluffy fiber helps. So he's doing great. He's like, he doesn't even care. They're not all that easy. Can we give Michelle a round of applause, please?